So this is a little video that I'm doing on making the beads. There's sort of like a two-step process in it. We're going to use this little thing first to drill the beads out. They're going to come out in this sort of rough, you know, with this bit of material around the middle. Can't see there. So after we drill them out, I'll show you the process on the drill where we finish them and sand them. But yeah, for now, this is the wood that we're going to use, Manuka. It's a little bit like tea tree, sort of a medicinal wood in a way. So we're going to make some medicine beads. So we're going to drill these out and finish them and then paint them. And yeah, I just thought I'd share the whole process with everyone. Well, yeah. So yeah, I'll do a little time lapse of, maybe I'll just show a couple drilled out and then I'll do a bit of a time lapse and yeah. Just bring the camera. So we've got something like that comes out. So yeah, do a little bit of a time lapse. Alright, so this is the process that I use for finishing the beads. So you get a bead like this, it's got this material around the outside. So usually we can just sort of push that off. Then we want to feed it through this little line. So we use the same size drill bit as we did on the drill press. With that little string makes it so it's tight. Let's use a bit of tape, tie a little bit of string to there. And what we're going to use, so I used to use about 8 pieces, 8 different grades of sandpaper, but I've reduced that down to about 5. So we use a 100 first, and then a 150. And then we jump up to, a 320. And then we use 1,000 grit. for polishing of Bead. And then some steel wool. That sort of does the final bit, and then we use a rag and a little bit of polishing oil. So I'll show you the first one, and then we'll do a bit of a time lapse. I use a little clamp like this for the drill, just so I don't have to hold the trigger. You'll see it sort of come loose, so I just need to refeed that. Can be a little bit time consuming, but once you get a bit of a rhythm going, it's not too bad. Push that on tight again. Sort of happened again. I really need to put a new little string on here. This is a little worn, but at least you kind of get the idea of the mechanics of how it works. That's what it looks like. Nicely polished. So yeah, I'll do a time lapse for the rest of them. Alright, so I'm going to do the painting process now. I've got a new little brush, so hopefully that's gonna help. First thing we kind of do is we try to find the center, and then we want that exactly parallel on the other side. And then we want to get a little compass. It should be set up right place. Just double check that. So we do. Draw a little circle. Just checking this opposite side. Oops. I'm a little bit clumsy sometimes, so I get cuts and things on me. But anyway, that's the first little reference. And then we kind of want to get another reference for the outside. A little harder to use. Spike's not quite as good. Actually, we might not do that. So anyway, what we want to do is we want to start with the blue. And we fill in a little circle that we've made. Slightly over there. So each consecutive circle that you do, you can kind of recorrect things, and practice always makes perfect. So we might go over that blue again, but for now it's alright. Just making sure we're all recording. So then we go for the green. So much easier using this new brush. The brush I was using I've had for years, and I was kind of just making do. This brush makes it a lot easier, holds the paint really well. So we can probably do slightly thinner lines than what we were doing on the other beads. So now we want to go yellow next. The yellow pigments don't tend to be quite as strong for some reason. It's a little bit harder to get a solid colour with the yellow. If you get the consistency just right. Yeah, you see it's a little bit. It's the balance between how much water you put in with the paint. Because if you don't put enough water in, it's not thin enough. So we get the red next. So you can kind of rotate it. Get a nice smooth line. do this little video and then I'll do the rest as a time lapse because it is pretty time consuming. So you want to get the white last. The outside circle. Not too bad. I might have to go over with the red at the end. But that's pretty good. Just a little bit there and there to be cleaned up. It's a really meditative process, doing this sort of detail work. Can really work on your dexterity as well. Oh, that's not good. Anyway, so we might do now before continuing is we'll just go back to the red. I'm just going to fix that a little bit there. A little bit of red there. Might have gone over a bit anyway. So I'm going to go back to the white. That brush clean. Then we're going to do our symbol in the middle. Let's just see where the holes are for the up and down. I usually start with 3 lines. One big one in the middle. And 2 small ones on the outside. Come down, make it sharp at the bottom. Come down. Then we go to the side. Wrap it around. Need to reload. Consistency of the paint is really important at this point. So yeah, that's basically how I do the first stage, and so I'll do one on the other side, and then I think I'll do 2 circles between. So maybe maybe I can show the second one as well, and then we can do the little circles in between, little rainbow circles. I'll bring it around. Should be dry enough, you can kind of blow on it a little bit. So again, we get the blue first. And we'll kind of follow that little compass line. That looks pretty good. No, don't smudge that. Okay, so we do the same sort of thing. Go to the green. Go green quite as accurate with this one, but you can kind of correct things as we go. Down to the yellow. It's a little bit greeny. Remember to clean that brush. I'm starting to get slightly quicker at this. It's important to maintain the quality. So I might go over the colours again afterwards, but we'll do kind of the basic setup. Red. Red's always a nice strong colour. Pigment's usually really good with red. Always got to remember to breathe. Sometimes with this work, you have the tendency to hold your breath. Then you kind of end up tight with no energy, and then you realise that you haven't breathed for a minute. So we do the white. It's always a nice feeling when you finish that kind of full circle. So we can clean that up a little bit later on. What we'll do is we'll just put a little bit more blue in the middle. Get that nice blue. Try not to get any lumps. Then we need to dry a little bit, so what we'll do is we will get some of the yellow, just clean this up a little bit. You just sort of want to look at it, and you want to look at it and see. There's the bits where it's maybe a little too thin. I can be a bit of a perfectionist, but I'm not saying everyone has to, you know, focus that much on detail. Just waiting for that to dry. While that's drying, what we might do, so we find kind of midpoint here, and then we get the little compass. I'm going to draw the same size circle. sides as well. And then what we're going to do is we're going to paint that white. So on these beads I need to be careful because I want to keep some of that nice wooden look. And so I need to be careful not to go for the edges. Last. Sort of Murphy's Law, isn't it? I should be able to finish that up a little bit afterwards. But anyway, right. Get that painted out. And hopefully the blue will be dry. Still not dry. So what we might do so now we're going to work our way inwards. So we'll get the red. And we'll leave cinnamon or white. Alright, so then we get the yellow. Yep. Then we do a little yellow circle. Whoops. So go over that again. But anyway, then we go green. And then we want to put blue in the middle of that. Alright, so that's looking kind of crap at the moment. I need to get the red. Need to strengthen that a bit. And I think the yellow. The center is a little bit off. So bring the yellow in a little bit. It's looking better. Only a bit of green. Here we go, that's coming together a bit better now. Right, so now we're going to go back to white. We're going to strengthen that outside. working with circles, you kind of get better and better at, you know, seeing where there needs to be a curve, if it's too flat, if it's too sharp. But it's quite a nice process, it's quite meditative. It's a tiny bit more yellow in there. Make sure those colours are nice and strong. So slightly off there, you can kind of see. It's a little bit lower. It still looks good. Alright, so what we want to do is now this should be dry. So we're going to get our white. Do our little dream yoga Tibetan letter A. And a sharp point. Down. Across, sharp point. And around all that, so it's a little bit keen there. I mean, to do it perfectly, you're kind of getting every stroke correct and not having to go over it, but if you need to go back over with the blue, kind of fill in bits that you've gone too far on, then that's all good. And it does make a real visual difference, you know, getting that really solid colour. That makes a big difference. So anyway, we've got both sides, that symbol. We've kind of gone quite a bit off on that. It's still not too bad, but on this side, what we do, our other circle. A little compass. You can see if it's a bit closer to one side, you can kind of push it over a little bit. We'll kind of bring it in. We're going to bring in this side a little bit. Fine for this part, doing a wee white base. Can make it a little easier. Let the colours sort of come through a bit stronger. So we go the red. Not too bad on this one, relatively accurate. And we want to go green. That's pretty good. I want to go a little bit of blue in the middle. Nice. Just look over that, that's pretty good. Do a little bit more white on the outside there. Just be a bit wetter. Here we go. Maybe we get the red. Let's do a tiny bit more red. Try to clean that up. Or just do a tiny bit of yellow. Yeah, so that one's pretty good. That one's pretty even. Just sort of wondering what I'm going to do about that side that's sort of right up the top. Yeah, maybe I'll redo that. But anyway, that's the process. It's a nice medicine bead. Yeah. I'll do a little time lapse. I've done a couple of them. You sort of get the idea. And yeah. Peace out. Alright, so today I'll make one of these little crystals. It's going to go on a necklace, little dream yoga necklace. Made this one for a ring yesterday. It's more of a smooth one. Really nice when you start finishing the tree resin and you start getting all those little amber colours and stuff coming through. So anyway, we're going to use this piece. We're going to just chop it with the saw, and what we want to do is we want to use a little bit of water. Knead it a little bit. You do need to be a little bit careful with the tree resin. It's pretty brittle, so you can break it pretty easily. You just want to make sure when we're sawing, it's not creating too much tension and it's nice and straight. And I just use a little bit of wood to kind of raise it up a little bit. Not far away. So that's going to give us a enough to get started. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get a chisel. Just going to gently shape it into a square. You just want to be careful in this process as well. Take off small bits at a time, but if you try to take off anything too big, you're likely to get cracks or it's going to break. You can use this for incense or the stuff that's left over. Looking like this. So this is called Carry. It's a tree resin here from the Carry tree, which is a native New Zealand tree. So now what we're going to do, we need to remove a little bit of the material at the top, but rather than chiseling that off, we're going to sand it down. So this is 100 grit, wet and dry. So we'll start off, and we'll just get that bottom nice and flat, smooth. I tend to spin it round, take it even. So we've got a nice flat bottom. Now we're going to start working at top. We want to try to get that flat. We're starting to get there. And with the rough sandpaper, you want to keep looking at it because it does take off quite a bit of material each time. It's starting to get there. A little bit more. Checking the thickness. Alright, now I'm going to start getting the edges a little bit smoother. You kind of want to try to get one edge that's square. So we're going to work on this edge and this edge. We can use a bit of timber or something and sort of check how square we are. So we're pretty good. So I want to see that bottom edge. Try to get it nice and square. things a lot easier when we start making little facets. Take off a little bit more thickness. And twist it. See what we got. That's not too bad now. Take off a little bit of thickness. Top edge. Alright. So now what we're going to do, quite square. That's looking a bit better. Kind of always turn it around. Try to get an even. That's pretty square. Alright, so now what we're going to do, we're going to move to the 280. And we're going to clean it up a bit. So again, just rotating it to each 4 sides. Flip it. Rotate it. Going to get it a bit clearer. I just want to work those edges, get them nice and flat. We can kind of reassess. I need to take off any more material. So it's looking not too bad. Check the thickness. So it's a little bit thicker on one side. So we're gonna it's a bit better. Finish that. Alright. Now what we're going to do before we go any further, this is 600, so we're just going to kind of polish what we've done. 2, 3, 4, flip, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do each of the edges. So it's looking pretty good now. So we're going to go back to this one. I'm going to hold it with the point up. What we're doing is we're going to put 4 more sides. So when we get down to this size, tend to not use the rough sandpaper. You can see we're taking off that edge. You just want to do this slowly. You can't put it back on once you take it off. So that's pretty good. So we want to do the opposite side now. It's really easy at first because you've got a sharp edge. You don't want to chip it. Just keep checking it. See where you're at. It's kind of pretty cool. I initially just started collecting tree resin to use for incense. So that's where my kind of connection with tree resin comes from. And then over time I've sort of found, some other pretty cool uses for it. You can't use all the tree resins for this sort of stuff. Some of them aren't quite hard enough. So I'm wondering if some of the kauri resin that we get is more like a petrified resin. But there are some other pine resins that I've found where they seem to be really hard and you can work them. There was a purple one. So I'll try find that again. This has a really nice colour to make gems. But the other thing about the tree resin that you don't get with other things, I guess like crystals, is they carry a really nice scent. So the kauri resin kind of smells a little bit like honey. It's kind of a sweet smell to it. I think it's pretty cool to have crystals that also have an aroma. It's quite a nice combination. You could kind of take a little bit of material off with the chisel, but bits this small can be a little bit problematic. I don't want to blow it apart, especially when I'm showing you guys. Right. We can kind of clean it up at the end, but we'll do the last edge. You can kind of see because of the flat top where you need to position it. Sometimes it's a bit hard to see with the water. So we're getting kind of closer now to what we want. You just want to have a look at the angles, see if there's any that you need to remove a bit more off, or sort of change the angle. Starting to come together. Little bits. I think that's pretty good. It's not going to be perfect. Sometimes I do measure it out, do a little grid, but not for this one. That's a pretty good octagon. Enough of the perfectionist. So what we're going to do, so we might, before we go any further, we might just finish these edges on the 1000 grit. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. Number 8. All right. So this is slightly trickier. We're going to do these little facets. Just trying to work out whether I use that as the back or the front. I think we'll still do this. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to use this little chisel here. Put a bit of sandpaper on it. Water like this. And then we're gonna work at these edges. So we're going to do kind of 4 sides first. Try to get like a square. Oops. I was lucky. Put it on 2 sides. And just be careful if you've got wee striations or whatever through it, just be really careful on those bits because they'll be a bit weaker. It's easy to break them. It's pretty good. Trying to get the sandpaper on the chisel so you can really see that line, that edge. If you do it on a little block like this, you can kind of end up remembering the angle. Just keep that same angle for each edge. You know, imagine this is how they did it in olden times. You know, in the more ancient periods. Obviously not with sandpaper, but something else. They just sort of sat here and grinded away on gems and different things. Alright. So we've got kind of 4 sides. We're just going to take a little bit more off some of the other sides that we've done. Alright. You can see we kind of have some kind of facets going on. So that's quite cool just as it is. You can keep that as it is. So you got those nice kind of, I don't know, they'd be called imperfections, but the tree resin has those little kind of shadows in it and the little trap bits of material. It's really nice. Just clean that up a tiny bit more. So we're going to do the other 4 facets now. We go to these edges. Edge, that's pretty good. I'll try to line it up. It's that outside edge that you can see that we made initially. So we'll do the opposite side. Pretty good. So now we'll do the other sides. Nearly done. As you can see, we've made that basic shape. What we did with this one. So we have one more edge to do. I think. This one here. Be a bit hard to see once there's a lot of water and slurry on there. That's pretty good. You kind of just look at what edges might need to be finished. Sometimes it's an angle down the bottom, angle up the top. Sometimes the face is a little bit smaller. So you get better at kind of spotting it and recorrecting it. But that's going to be good enough for now, I think. Just a little bit more there. So now, I'm going to get a bit of 1000. just going to finish each of those faces. Need to be careful with the chisel. And see, once you use the 1000, you can see the face a lot better. You can still take a bit of material off with it, but it's a lot slower. And then we'll get the 1000 again. What we're going to do is we're just going to finish that face a little bit and twist it around. And just each one of these little faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here we go. Shine it up a little bit for you. You can polish it a bit more. But yeah, that's kind of how to turn some tree resin into a little crystal. It is a lot more fragile than stones, so just remember that when you ring your necklace or bracelet you put it on. Just be very careful, because I could probably just snap that in half. But yeah, it smells really nice, looks really beautiful. There you go. I'll show you in the next video. What I'm doing is I'm going to make another bead that's painted as well, and then this is going to be a little window through to something that's painted on the back of it. So So yeah, I thought that would be pretty cool. But yeah, thanks for watching my little demonstration, and hope everyone's well. Yeah, really enjoying this creative process and sharing it with everyone. Peace. Okay, so I just thought I'd make a little video of the central bead that I'm doing for the little medicine dream yoga necklace. So we're just going to do that same symbol, but we're going to do it on here, and then this is going to sit on top of it. And we're going to do some other painting around here. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, but I just thought I'd share this with you guys. So that is the bottom. Alright. Start getting paint on my fingers. Anyway, so we're going to do a white line around the outside. We can go over this again. We'll just keep the main structure first. Hopefully it'll create a nice reflection through the tree resin. And I don't really like using glue, but I'm going to have to use a little bit of super glue to glue the tree resin on. Find each circle you do, it's an opportunity to clean things up. Oh. Right now we go yellow. We'll go back over the yellow afterwards. Green. So that's our green done. And the blue in the middle. Now we can go back over it a little bit. Start off with white again. And then we go red. Then we're going to go yellow. As I said before, the yellow is a little bit difficult. Pigment's not as strong, and then if you water it down to get the right consistency, it can end up too weak. Bring the green out a little bit to that yellow. Some bits are a little bit wonky, but it's okay for now. Let's go over again, this blue middle, make it a little bit bigger. So we've got the colours nice and strong, but when it going to have to balance things out a bit. I'm going to go for the red. Just trying to clean up that outer line where it hits the white. So let me extend the white a little bit, certain places. Just till it looks right. So we want to come in a little bit. This corner. And then we want to bring this in. Like that. So this is kind of how we gently correct the circles, I guess. Just bring that in a little bit. Then we get the yellow. That's looking a lot better now. Come to the shape. Go back over that. Green again. So that's looking pretty good in terms of the colours, the balance. We need to do the yellow, but we need to wait for it to dry a little bit. So I'm just thinking what we do for the rest of the bead. There we go, the yellow. The paint kind of thick. It's not bad. Right, so we'll tidy this up afterwards, but I got this brush here, the separate one, that I thought I could use for the letters, for the symbols. The tip's a little bit better, so that's down, it's the right way there. Alright, so that's cool. Bit more paint. So that's our little symbol. So we'll take this opportunity, go over the white again. Clean up any edges. Need to widen this a little bit. Yeah, so it's just looking even. I have to do the red again. Pretty good for the red. So we'll try doing a bit more yellow. Oh, so thick. That's a bit better. So yeah. I might just do a tiny bit more white in the middle. Alright, so we have to let that dry. I'm going to put this on it. We'll clean this. So what we're going to use is a little bit of the super glue, Gorilla Glue, to glue that on. Make sure that paint's dry. One little spot, two, three, four. A little bit close to the middle, but Making sure that's positioned right. So yeah, that's it there. Still finish the stone a little bit, but that looks pretty cool. Hopefully the super glue holds. And yeah, I might do a little time lapse for the rest of it. And yeah, and then I have all these beads here. I have another 19, I think, 18 of these beads to paint, to do this. So I'll do a little time lapse for that as well. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks Gorilla Super Glue. Thanks Tic Tac. Alright, peace. Alright, so I finished all these beads. There's 35 beads in total, including this one. This is the main one, with the little tree resin window. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to get all 4 colours. Red, blue, yellow and green. And then we're going to get the ends. So what we're going to do is we're going to split it up into yellow and green and red and blue. And then we're going to tie them in a knot. Like that. Make sure that's nice and tight. And then we're going to trim. Trim that, and then we're going to get it a little lighter. And want to try and not affect those other strings. I want to just burn those to the point where we can put it down. And we want to do the same on the other side. And these little strands here. And we want to trim them. Something that looks like that. We just want to ensure that we get enough length. So I'm going to cut these now. Giving myself lots of length. Alright. So we have our so this on the two sides. So now what we're going to do is start threading them. So there's going to be 17 on each side. And what we'll do with the ends, just trim that. So what we're going to do to make it easier to go through the bead is we're just going to melt that a little bit. And we're going to kind of roll it into one. We'll do the same with the red and the blue. Just trim those. Roll them into one. Oh, that one's a little bit ugly, so we'll trim that. Trim that up so it fits through the little hole. Right. Now we want to put them this way up. Put 17 on the first one. Two. Three. 4. It's a bit light. 5. 6. 7. So doing that's helpful when you're going through small beads as well, when it's a bit more difficult. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. So we have 13 on there. 14. 15. 16. The last one, 17. that side done. So now we start on this side. And this stuff here is just paracord. It's kind of cheap, but it's really strong. Nice to use pure cotton, but you can't fuse it like this. So that's the reason why I use it. So I'm just going to thread the rest of these. It's just really nice seeing this all come together after all the hard work painting the beads. It is really time consuming, but super enjoyable for me anyway. Sometimes repetitive actions, even things like cleaning, you can really make it practice. But I find things where I have to really focus and concentrate on detail, it really takes you out of that thinking mind, that sort of what the Toltecs would call the internal dialogue. And even though you're doing something, it puts you in a state of non-doing, which is pretty cool. Cool. So before I started making jewelry, I did a lot of artwork, a lot of mandalas. I do a lot of symbols and a lot of this intricate sort of work, so it's definitely been helpful. It's discipline, I guess, that I've learned over time. Because with the artwork that I do, it's really, the more hours you put into it, the better the artwork is. And I really like that. I think abstract art's pretty cool, but the more energy someone puts into a piece, I feel like that's what makes it powerful. Right now what we're going to do is we're going to put it through this main piece here. The left side, the right side. Now I'm going to use the blue cord. So I'm going to show you how I do the sort of the cord that they use for the Tibetan malas, Buddhist malas, the 108 beads. So we're going to turn it around and we're going to get this end here. I'm just going to tie that for now. So I'm going to put this underneath. What we're going to do, we're going to cross it over and just do a normal knot. Kind of slide that up. And we want to get that reasonably tight. And there'll be a strand that's going down and a strand that's going up. We want to get the one that's going down. We want to put that underneath and over. and feed this through. And then we consider that our second knot. We want to do 11. So in my gematria, 11 is unconditional love. So especially when you're gifting something, that's nice. Right, now we do the right hand side for 3. That's number 3. You can see it's starting to form that pattern now. You got number 4. And then we have number 5. And we have number 6. We want to pull these tight, but not overly tight. Do 7. And then we do 8. And then 9. Nearly there. It's 9. 10. One more. One more is going to give us 11. Alright. So that's our last one. So it's nice, it's quite even. So I'm going to cut one side, leave a tiny bit on. Melt that. Pat it down. So we're just sealing, essentially sealing that knot. Same thing to the other side. I seal the knot. Just be careful, obviously you don't burn yourself, but if it's just a tiny little bit, it doesn't hurt the fingers. So now we've made this this little mechanism here, so you can loosen it, tighten it. So the only other thing that we have to do is you have to cut these, and then I'm going to add some of these little 14 karat gold beads. So what we'll do is we'll cut that now. So we need 4 of these little gold ones. I got these in LA when I was there. It's not too expensive for the these little beads. It's a couple of dollars, but it's a bit more expensive for these little caps. So when I have enough, I'll get some nice gold caps. Anyway, what we want to do is we want to cut these, and then we want to tie essentially one of these onto each end. So I'll show you how we do that. So we're going to take like 4 inches, maybe a little bit more. We're just going to cut that. And then we're going to feed. Right, so we have to do. We just need to kind of finish that end, so we'll go through the bead. Here we go. So that's our first one. So we're going to do a little tie. And we just have to make sure that each end is the same, to the same length. It's helpful to get a little bit more material, and you can work the knot back a little bit. Right, so you want a tiny little bit of that left. And we see that it just slides down like this. So we want to do the same thing. We just lightly touch that end, make it a little bit harder. Sometimes it's just difficult to go through when it's sort of fluffy. So we do this one. It's the same thing. And then you want a tiny little bit similar to this one. So we have two of them done now. Same thing. A little bit fiddly, these tiny beads. And maybe there's easier ways to do it, I don't know. But you can't get there in the end. So you might just burn that a little bit more. It should be a little bit easier. Here we go. Same thing again. I'm just leaving a tiny little bit. Right, so the last one, some green. See, it's good when it does that. It's just sort of a little pokey bit. It's a bit easier to get on. It's the same thing with this. Knots nice and tight. Right, so we have all these ends done, these little gold bits. Which are a little tight. Now what we want to do is just finish them, so you can cut these quite close. I'm just going to finish it. Just like that, and it just comes up as a little amber sort of spot. If we leave too much material on, it Can end up looking a little burnt. Just leave a tiny bit. Get that little amber blob. There's one more. This one. Just cut that little bit. So there we have it. That's Jake's necklace. Pretty cool. I've still got to touch up some of these beads, but that's pretty much done. See how it works there. Yeah, I might do more of this sort of stuff. These little crystals that have painted things behind it. But yeah, thanks for watching my video. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Yeah, if you enjoy the content. And yeah, all the best. Long days and pleasant nights. So I just thought I'd show the necklace, what it looks like on. It's that kind of nice shine on it. And that little crystal. If you feel like sponsoring me In-N-Out Burger, that would be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks Jake for helping me out. Yeah, I really hope you enjoy the necklace, and yeah, all the best.